Good evening and welcome all to our webinar series brought to you by the Mount Sinai Hospital, Marie Josie and Henry R. Kravis Center on 85th Street. I am your host, Frank Vera, and along with me as panelists will be Janet Johnson, DNP, who is the clinical director of our center, Marnie Friedman, our registered dietitian, and tonight as our guest speaker, we will have Monica Jain presenting her most favorite topic, practicing gratitude mindfully. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce Monica. Monica is a physical therapist, an author, and a mindfulness practitioner. Currently, she works as a Master Clinician at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York. Monica brings her 19 years of experience as a physical therapist and expertise in mindfulness. She prides herself on her commitment to excellence, integrity, and focus on the complete healing of mind, body, and heart. She recently published her first book, Healing the Heart Mindfully, a practical and holistic approach to holistic rehab for cardiac surgery. She leads a mindfulness session in hospitals, schools, universities, nonprofit organizations, and communities. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that if you have a question, please type it in the question box so that we can answer it during our presentation. And at the end of tonight's webinar, please take some time to fill out our survey for any feedback or questions we could not get into. Please do not mind the crying baby in the background. And so without further ado, Monica, the room is all yours.
Thank you, Frank, so much. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us tonight. As you all know, today's topic is practicing gratitude mindfully. Without further delay, let's get started into the PowerPoint. And let me share the screen first. Are we good, Frank?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Sure. So practicing gratitude mindfully. Before we jump into this topic, I just want to take a quick 1 minute so that we all can ground ourselves and be present to our session. So sit comfortably, close your eyes if that's safe for you. Just focus on your in-breath and out-breath. Now take one small, gentle, deep breath. And breathe out nice and slowly through the mouth. One more time. Slow, gentle, deep, conscious breath. With an intention of letting go everything that has happened in the day, and you are giving yourself the permission to be completely present to the next 45 minutes and allowing yourself to be open-minded and to participate in the session as you feel like. With that mindful intention, open the eyes and welcome back. So today's outline, any guesses? What do you think?
Well, I'm going to guess today's gratitude.
Yeah. So what is gratitude? Its importance? How is it related to our heart health? And the evidence supporting gratitude practice. And we'll end with different ways to practice gratitude mindfully. So as we start, if you can grab a piece of paper and pen, then let's do the exercises along with the session to really feel the transformation and not just understand it intellectually. So the first exercise is list 2 things that you are grateful for today. What are those 2 things? It could be anything that comes to your mind. There is no wrong or right answer. Let's take a quick 30 seconds to list 2 things that we are grateful for today. And if you can't find a pen and paper, then just think in your head, but let's do this exercise together. Why we are doing this exercise, you'll discover this by the end of the session. Now, what is gratitude, right? We all are familiar with this word. What does gratitude mean to everybody? Just take a quick pause and think, what are the words that are coming to mind? It's a quality or a feeling of appreciation or thanks, right? The quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation, and return the kindness. So what are the benefits of gratitude? Most importantly, like there is tons and tons of research that has been done consistently. And it reminds me of the grandma science. Like, when I was a young kid, my grandma always used to say, count on your blessings. Think what you have right now. And now the science is proving that grandma science with all the MRIs and CT scans and biological findings. But it's exactly what we have been learned old days. So gratitude increases 3 hormones, your dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. And these are the 3 hormones everybody loves, right? Who doesn't need that relaxation and kind of peace in our body? So the studies have proven that practice of gratitude increases these 3 hormones. It increases the resilience. Now more than ever, we all know the importance of resistance. With pandemic, how much we all needed extra resilience to just come to the other side. And then it increases the happiness and the life satisfactions. In the previous sessions, we have always learned that what is wellness, right? It's the physical, emotional, and the mental health being. It's not just absence of disease. And that all brings down to the happiness and having the satisfaction in life. It improves the quality of sleep. Who wouldn't need a quality of sleep? The most healing happens with the sound sleep. And these days, everybody struggles in some or the other way to have a sound sleep. How many times we toss and turn. It builds the emotional awareness, and one of the studies also found that it increases an activity in your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for the relaxation and having the opportunity to respond to the situation rather than react to the situation. And people who practice gratitude, they are found to be helpful, happy, and forgiving. I'll repeat one more time. Helpful, happy, and forgiving. And who wouldn't like to be, right? These are the 3 qualities we always look in others. Or if other people have these qualities, you'll always get attracted towards them. You'll always feel that inspiration and a special connection with them. So gratitude leads to 3 important things: connection, closeness, and happiness. And these are the 3 things. If we take a pause and think about it, this is something that we need day in and day out. In every moment of our life, we need this. We need the connection with ourselves, with our family members, with our loved ones, with all our colleagues, with our neighbors, no matter whom we come across, right? We need that connection. We need the closeness, and we need the happiness. Gratitude enhances the sense of well-being, and which is so important. And it enhances the relationships to ourselves, to others, and things. Like we do appreciate others so much, but you know what? We discount the relationship to ourselves. When was the last time when you appreciated and accepted yourself? So those are the things that will dive a little bit deeper into the future slides. So now gratitude, mindfulness, and heart health. How are these 3 things related, right? How does gratitude support us at the biological level? We all know that gratitude is a practice that is really important and is part of our day-to-day activities. But how does and what does it does at the biological level? Gratitude improves the sleep, tendency to exercise, cardiovascular health, adherence to medications, and it really, really improves your mood, optimism, and hope. Stress and gratitude, they cannot stay together. Try it out in every given situation, no matter how much it is stressful or challenging. If we can practice gratitude, we will be able to see light. We will be able to see a little bit of brighter vision, no matter how the darker the situation look like. And that is why practice of gratitude has such a greater impact on our health. It reduces the substance abuse, the fat intake, the cortisols, the blood pressure, inflammation, perceived stress. So all the things that we don't need in our body is reduced with gratitude. And all that we need is improved with the practice of gratitude. That is why it is so important. And science and evidence are backing it up with tons and tons of studies. So John Henry said, gratitude is a vaccine, an antitoxin, and an antiseptic, all three in duo. So no wonder why practice of gratitude is so, so important. This is one thing that I always find so fascinating. If you look at the brain is a Velcro to the negative experiences, and Teflon, like a non-stick to the positive experiences, right? How many times in our life, if there is a negative experience, you try to eliminate it, try not to think about it, but you end up thinking more about it, right? Why? Because brain is a Velcro to the negative experiences. But if a positive experience comes, you enjoy it at that moment, you appreciate at that moment, and it's gone. But with the negative, it just kind of hijacks us. It just kind of we are so hooked up. So what does gratitude does? Gratitude amplifies the positive. It creates the powerful positive memories, and in turn, it does make lasting changes to the brain. That is why it has said so many times, right? Neurons that wire together, fire together. And that's exactly what gratitude does. So next time when you find yourself in a negative situation or a negative experience or a challenging experience, think about it as, is it like a Velcro or like a Teflon? And then bring gratitude so it can amplify that positive experience. This is a new habit. This is a new skill that we can train ourselves in every single moment so that it becomes like an autopilot mode. It becomes like a natural instinct and not just like practicing only on occasions. So gratitude is an antidote to the negative spiral. And this is one of the most fascinating features, that it can really, really help us to come on the other side and see the positivity, see the light at the end of the tunnel. Now, what is the science that is supporting? How do we back up the practice of gratitude? There was one study that was done between the adults and the college students. The groups were divided into 3 groups. Group 1 was given the letter of gratitude to another person every weekly. They have to write for 3 weeks. In group 2, they just write about their deepest thoughts and feelings about stressful situation. And group 3 had no writing activity. And studies found that people who practiced gratitude had better mental health than the other groups. Then they did the study for stage B heart failure patients, where they took the blood samples, they measured their heart rates, and there were 2 groups. One group did the gratitude journal and the other group didn't. And what they found was that people who had gratitude journal had fewer biological signs that their heart diseases got worse. They showed healthier resting heart rate while journaling in the lab. Like they were doing the parallel studies. And that is such a profound, significant difference, right? That if your heart rate, if the blood values can indicate that your heart disease is not worsening. It is a big practice to be included into our daily routine so that we all can have those benefits. Then there was a recent study that was done with acute coronary events. So the patients were asked to report the gratitude right after the 3 months and 6 months later, and keep track of their physical activity with the step counter. What were the results? The results said that people who were more grateful after the heart surgery were engaged in more healthy behaviors and reported better quality of life. So these are like all the practices that can help us. Like these studies in different populations have shown that gratitude has helped in every different area and every disease area too. So now comes the important question. What are the different gratitude practices, right? I'm sure everybody is practicing gratitude in their own way. But I just wanted to elaborate on all different practices so that you can pick and choose what works the best for you, what is doable, what is practical, and which practice can be consistently done at your end, because everybody has a different routine, a different schedule, right? So what are different gratitude practices? So as we all know, the gratitude journal. This is one of the practice that I'm sure most of you are familiar with. So you can write down the gratitude practices into your journal. What are the different things that you are grateful for, and just list them out in the journal. Then you can do a gratitude letter. Then you can listen to the gratitude meditation or practice gratitude meditation, which we will do at the end. Then we have a gratitude jar. This practice, we did it like last year. So what we did was we used to take a jar and put it on the kitchen island. And, every day, if I found anything that my son did good, or if I appreciated, or if somebody did good to me, I would just write it down on a piece of paper and put it into the gratitude jar. And this way, like all the family members were putting their comments and compliments and appreciations in the gratitude jar. And on the Christmas Eve, we just opened up everything and we were reading out the comments. And it was a very heartfelt, touching exercise to do it on a special occasion. You don't have to do it at the end of the year. You can do like a weekly reading, you can do like a quarterly reading, or you can do monthly, whatever works for you. And then we have exercise of 3 things. So this is what we did in the first part, that write down 2 things that you are grateful for. So here you can list 3 things. You can make a little schedule for yourself that I will list 2 things at the end of the day when I go to sleep. Or first thing when I wake up, I will just think about what are 2 things that I'm grateful for. Whatever resonates with you, you can choose that practice that works for you. Then these days, social media is such a big thing. Like people are so much involved in social media. So you can take it up as a social media challenge that for 1 month, I'm going to post 1 thing that I'm grateful for every day. As simple as that. You don't have to write 3 things, 5 things. If it feels 1 thing, just write down 1 thing. Then conversations. This is something that we all do it at every single day, right? The conversations at the dining table, the conversations at the meetings. So when we start the conversations, what we can do is, instead of asking, how was your day today? Just start with, what was the best part of your day today? So that way, it's going to open up a whole different conversation. You'll start with the positivity. You will say things that felt, because there are so many things that doesn't go well. Like we always end up with like, oh my God, it was such a crazy busy day. It was this, it was that. But in midst of that, there will always be 1 thing positive that has happened to. And that's what we are training our brain to look for that positivity, to look for something that we can be grateful for. So that is the importance of gratitude during the conversations. when you are starting like a meeting or something that, like a challenging situation, always start with like, what went good? So that way it kind of opens up like, okay, these are the things that we did right. And then kind of jump onto the problem or any challenge that you need to resolve. And then the last thing is receiving gratitude. Many of us are, well, hold on one second. Many of us have the problem with receiving gratitude. How many times somebody holded the door, or I holded the door for somebody and the person said thank you, and then I didn't even like let a few seconds to take that compliment, to take that appreciation in. So receiving gratitude is equally important as much as giving the gratitude. So when next time when anybody gives you a compliment or when anybody gives you a positive feedback or appreciates you, just take a quick moment to feel the expression behind those words. Let your heart feel how it feels like, rather than just taking it at the mind level and kind of like, okay, just boom, it goes by. So feeling that expression, receiving that gratitude, feel that love and joy when somebody gives you the compliment or somebody gives you that appreciation. So these are different methods that you can choose one or more than one, whatever feels right to you. But the key is to do it consistently. Just do it for like 20 days, or just do it for like, to start with, just do it for a week. So right now, as a family, what we practice is doing 3 things at the end of the day. So when we all go to the bed, we would say to each other, what are we grateful for? And we say, why are we grateful for? So for example, if I say that, oh, I'm grateful to my son, but that doesn't open up a specificity, right? So I have to say, why am I grateful? So I will say that, Rishi, I'm grateful to you because you finished your lunch today. So something that becomes very specific. Like kids hated this in the beginning. They did not like it. In the beginning, they were like, Mom, can we skip the gratitude today? And I was like, okay, you can skip, but let's do only one. Let's not do 3, but let's do 1. Because every new habit takes time. It's not like, you just build it up right away. And these are exercises which seems to be very easy, but when you start doing it, they are not. Sometimes, it takes like 1 minute to come up with something that you are grateful for that day. And once your brain starts thinking about it, then there is a whole list of it. Oh yeah, I'm thankful to my babysitter. I'm thankful to this. I'm thankful to that. And then the list goes on. And I'll share a personal example why this exercise is so important to me. So when my son was 5-year-old, they were like, he and the sister were running in the house and he fell and he broke his radius and ulna, the forearm bones. And it was like, I think around 7ish in the evening. And Stanford Hospital ER, they didn't have the pediatric setup, and we were trying to figure out. He was in the car. We had to move him to the Greenwich. The Greenwich urgent care said that they cannot fix it. He needs to go to the ER because he needs to be under the operation table. And like everything looks so stressful and worrisome. And here this boy is like holding his hand and like pain on 10 on 10. I can't do anything. And in that moment, in midst of everything, he says, Mom, you know what? One thing that is I'm really grateful for is it happened in my left arm. And I was like, for that particular moment, it just felt as if like there was so much peace in that whole situation. Nothing changed, but I was like, this is something that works. Why did it work? Because of the constant training that was done. And believe me, kids get trained way faster than us. At the age of 40, it took me way longer. But he, at the age of 5, if he can do that, I was like, this really works. And that changed the whole situation. The inner being got changed. And I'm like, yes, we need to train our brain. And once we train our brain in that stressful, painful situation, if he can see the light, if he can think about one thing that he's grateful for, I am ready to do this practice. This is like a live example to me. That's why these practices comes with so much confidence and so much passion, because it works. We can train ourselves, we can train our brains. Now it's another exercise time. So grab your paper and pen and list one recent experience when you felt grateful to the other person. Take few seconds. I know it would be a little bit challenging. I'm doing with you. Now, or you can even do list one experience when you liked something about the other person, like anything that you appreciated or anything that you felt you were inspired to. Take 10 more seconds. And now, if we want to take this practice to the next level, what happens? Express your feelings to that person. Like whatever you wrote, you have to now express it to the other person, to express it to the same person. So what happens is, a lot of the times we feel it in our heart, but we kind of like, we are so busy in our to-do list that we forget to express it. We forget to take that time and express it. And you know what? With whom do we like do this the most? With whom do we miss the most? Is our loved ones and the close ones. Those are the people that we take them for granted. We feel so much appreciation all the time, but we forget to express. We forget to take out that time and just share those feelings to them. And that is why, like, the relationships doesn't nurture that much. Why? Because you feel it, but you don't do it. You don't express it. And why is expression so important, right? Like a lot of the times we would say that, at work or to the like distant friends, it's very easy. Oh, thank you for doing this. I appreciate so much. But with the most close ones and the loved ones, when was the last time that you appreciated your spouse or your partner or your parents or your kids, right? And that is where you just take a moment and feel what is something that you really appreciate about the most loved one, and share it to them as if you really mean it, and share it with the eye contact, share it with being with them, and see what opens up. And why is that so important? Because there was one of the study that just kind of wanted to see how many people are grateful. So they did the study and they found that 90% of the Americans always feel grateful in their life, which is a good number. But only 52% of the women and 44% of the men expressed. Like they felt grateful, but they didn't express. And people who expressed were found to be happier than people who didn't express. And think about it, that when we express more than the other person, there is so much love and joy in our hearts. Because we really mean it. We are taking out that time to share those kind words and appreciation to the other person. So next time, When you feel any feelings for the other person, when you appreciate or compliment, or if something inspires you, take a moment and express it. So whatever you did in the exercise, take out the time and share it to the other person. It could be in the form of email, phone call, or a conversation, whatever is doable at your end. There was one study which proved that people who practiced for 10 weeks, just 5 minutes every day, the results were 25% they were happier. Gratitude practice is a game changer. And I cannot emphasize enough, we just have to kind of build it in our daily routine and see and experience the transformation for ourselves. Key message for today's session is, this is a skill that can be developed. We all have it. Each of us here have that practice of gratitude. All we need to do is develop it in a way that it becomes our second nature. It becomes our default. It is always and always and always accessible. Doesn't matter what challenging moment you are facing. All we need to do is just reach for it. Just go for it. Just think about it, right? Mindfulness and gratitude goes hand in hand. If you are present in the present moment, in the now moment, you will appreciate and you will be more grateful. And if you can see gratitude, if you can be grateful, you are present in the present moment. So both are like complementary to each other. And when do we practice? We start practicing now. Now is all we have in our life, right? That's the only reality. So practicing gratitude as soon as possible, as soon as bringing it into our daily habits, that's the key. So to summarize, we did today what is gratitude, how does science and evidence supports the gratitude, and the different 9 methods to practice gratitude. So I highly encourage that from all those different methods, write down which method resonated the most to you. Was it the gratitude journal, or listing 3 things, or doing at the conversations, or practicing into the way of meditation? Whatever feels right to you, write down one method that you feel are committed to and you can do it with ease and fun. Whatever that method is, if you just want to list 3 things, or if you want to wake up thinking that what am I grateful for, but take a moment and write down which method resonates the most today. So now comes the homework math, right? You already chose one method, and now make a plan. How are you going to practice it? Just quickly kind of brainstorm that what works in your schedule. Does it work that you do it at the end of the day? Or does it work during the lunchtime? Whatever feels easy to you. And it should be an easy, committed practice. And then share and express. If you are choosing to write down the compliments and appreciation and inspiration, then make sure you express it to the other person, right? So with that, I conclude my PowerPoint slide presentation, and let's open up the floor for question answers, right?
Yes, so we do have a question from one of our viewers that reads, can you recommend some sources to help deepening the attitude of gratitude further?
Sure. So that is one of the meditation techniques that we can do. So we will do it at the end of the session, how to deepen that practice. So whatever practice we did it in the beginning, we are going to meditate on that, and that would take us to a deeper level.
Good. I have a question. Sometimes, we could show our gratitude to others and might not get that same level of gratitude back and in reply, what are some ways that we can be a little bit more understanding to not receiving that gratitude back?
Frank, this is like such an in-depth question that we can have a whole session on that. So what Frank is talking about is expectations. And mindfulness trains us not to expect anything from anybody. And that is like a whole deep level of session that if given a chance, we might dig into it at some point. But in short, what I can say is that all we are responsible is for the process. We train ourselves not to get attached to the outcome. For example, if I feel gratitude and if I say thank you to Frank, and if Frank doesn't respond back, it has nothing to do with my happiness. It is what he is choosing. It is what the other person is choosing. Frank, I'm pointing you, but it's nothing personal. So what that means is that we do what we have to do. We do what feels right to us, but we have no control over the other side. If they don't accept the gratitude, it's for them. We did our job. And that's where we have to train ourselves. It's not easy. Not having expectation from the other side is not easy at all. We were having this session last week, and one of the person from one of the audience, they said that, you know what, sometimes I hold the door for somebody and then the person just walks by without even saying thank you. So how do I have gratitude for that person? It feels like, hey, I was holding the door and you don't even have 2 minutes to just kind of say thank you. And I'm like, if we take a pause at that situation and just think about it, it's so much easier for me because I'm outside the situation. If I was holding the door and if somebody didn't say thank you to me, who knows, I would have been the same before my mindfulness practices. But with mindfulness practices, I just observe. And then I realize that it's not me who wants thank you. It is my ego who wants that thank you. The bottom line is we don't care. Like the true ourself, the inner being of ours doesn't want anything from outside. But it's our ego who always wants to be fulfilled. And mindfulness trains us to observe that, to catch ourselves, to be aware, and then to choose. With mindfulness practices, it's not that those thoughts are not going to come. They will come. They come more because you are more aware. But what happens is the transformation comes because you are aware. And as soon as you become aware, it just brings you a smile. Oh, here comes my ego again. And then you choose that, okay, I did my part. Then I have no control over the other part. So thank you for bringing that question. That is such an important piece. And it's not only with gratitude, it's with everything. And one of the topics that we do is expectation versus agreement. And that would bring a lot of light on, like, you know, when we do something and then we, like, for example, if we are running a meeting, right? And if we expect everybody to come at 6 o'clock, but if we don't make an agreement, then it's kind of like, you know, you get upset, I get upset, and it doesn't work. So for example, you set the expectation that everybody should join in at 6 o'clock. But if people don't join, then it can trigger us. But what this agreement does is that you make the agreement that I want to start the meeting at 6 o'clock. Will that work for you? Will you be able to join at 6? And then the other person is like, hey, 6 looks a little bit tight. Can we do 6 or 5? And then there is an agreement. So we are kind of like avoiding the stress without bringing the expectation, without hooking onto the expectation. So coming back to your question of when we have gratitude, then how do we expect the same level of gratitude from others? We don't. And that's where we train ourselves. Does that help?
Yes, absolutely. We have another question. You kind of touched base on this, talking about egos. But the question reads, what are the barriers to expressing gratitude? Sometimes a sense of entitlements come in the way. How do you overcome?
It's the simple practice that we did last time, right? Awareness, breathe, and choose. So as soon as that thought comes, be aware, acknowledge that thought, and then just take a quick pause and breathe into that thought. Without any judgment, without analyzing it. Don't think that, oh, why did that thought come? No, it came, it's okay. Observe, breathe, and then respond to the situation. Because that will give you the choice that whether you want to react or whether you want to respond. And that will also bring clarity in the situation. Meaning it will let you know that what are the things that are blocking you to express the gratitude. 90% of the time, what blocks us is our own limiting beliefs, our own belief system that blocks us to express it. Because in the past, something has happened, and then we hook on to that past as if that has become the reality, and we stop ourselves in sharing. And in those scenarios, sometimes, when it's very hard to express the gratitude because the other person has done something that doesn't resonate with us, or they have hurt us in the past, and we kind of stop ourselves because 10 times during the past, that person has done something that we didn't like it, and we don't even feel like now doing or now appreciating that person, for even though that person has done good this time, right? So in that scenario, we become more aware of our own past, and then we choose how do we want to be in the present moment. Do we want to appreciate? Do we want to compliment? Do you feel grateful about it? And sometimes, the hurt, or there is so much of resentment that we can't even do that. In that scenario, the practice of forgiveness plays a big role. When we practice the forgiveness, automatically you are letting go, or you are cutting off the beliefs at a subconscious level. And that opens up a whole new space, and we are able to express the gratitude from that space.
I have a comment, Monica.
Sure.
I really like the idea of showing the gratitude with conversation. I was thinking about it, and I have a tendency on Monday morning to say to people, how was your weekend? Probably not really even listening to what they say, but it's most of the time they make a general statement. But asking them, well, what was the best part of your weekend, will help to train them to be grateful for their time off and for what they did during those days. And then I can help to appreciate that special time with them also.
I really like that idea, right? I mean, it's such a common thing. Monday morning, we at least get 10 times, right? How was the weekend? And you know what has happened? It has become a default question.
Right.
We are not mindful of that question. We just, as if on Monday morning, no matter whom you see, whether it's in the elevator or whether you're crossing, and you're just like, how was your weekend? And as you rightly pointed, that we don't even listen what they are going to say. But here are two things that are really coming to my mind with this conversation. Is first is the mindful listening. Before even they say anything, if we can train ourselves to be like, I'm going to be present to whatever that person is saying, just bringing that awareness is going to open up the space to listen to the other person. Because it's not that we don't want to listen, but our minds are so busy to plan out what's going on in the to-do list for Monday. So we are just like on the default mode. How was your weekend? And then we are already to the next thing. So no matter even that person said for 1 minute that they did this, but we heard like 1 or 2 words of it. So just bringing the awareness that when I ask the other person that how was the weekend, I am going to take a minute to listen completely to that person. And how do you make sure that you listen completely to that person? There's a very profound exercise. So whatever that person says, within 10 seconds, it literally takes 10 seconds to recreate that whole thing in our mind. And that has helped me in improving my listening skills, to recreate that person, to recreate those feelings within you. My husband always used to tell me, it feels like you don't listen to me. And, the first thing would be like, I would become defensive. I'm like, no, I heard you. Like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And with mindfulness practices, it's kind of a disguise and bliss kind of thing, that with practices, you are like, everything has to be inside. It has to be from me. So now all these triggers, whenever I get triggered, I'm like, okay, Monica, look into what is that you need to change. And now when he says that, if you're not listening, I'm like, okay, he said I'm not listening. So there is something that is happening, which is making him think that I'm not listening. So how about let's work on that rather than becoming defensive. And that, it doesn't feel good at that time. It doesn't. But then when I do that exercise, I feel like, yes, now I know my blind spot. And now I know from where he is coming from and what I need to do. So as a female, we have that gift of multitasking. I can wash the dishes and I can listen to him. But with, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, right? They are like 2 different planets. But now I know that when you are talking with the other people, the eye contact is really, really important, especially if there's an important conversation going on. So now I make sure that when we are having an important conversation, I'm not multitasking. I'm completely present to him, listening and recreating what he is saying. And that has helped us in the communications, and that has helped me understand myself more. So that's like the mindful listening. Sorry, I took to a whole different level, but gratitude opens up so many different things. But thank you for sharing. I'm sure on every Monday now people would be like, okay, what was the best part about your weekend?
Right.
Yeah.
So Monica, it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in from our viewers.
So should we dive into the gratitude meditation then?
Yep. Yes, we can.
So sit comfortably. And if it's safe for you, then close your eyes And if you feel comfortable doing with the eyes open, you may choose to do with eyes open. And if you are choosing to do with the eyes closed, feel the closure of your eyes. Feel the softness of the eyelids. You can do it in sitting position, lying down, standing, whatever feels right to you at this time. If you are sitting, then feel the couch or the bed or the chair, wherever you are sitting in. Take a moment to observe your breath. Feel the in-breath and the out-breath. And now, take a small, gentle, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. One more time, breathe in and breathe out. And now, think about 2 things that you are grateful for today. It could be the same 2 things that you wrote in the beginning of the session. Or if you didn't write at that time, you can think about them right now. What are the 2 things that you are grateful for? It could be your parents, your spouse, your partner, your friend, your neighbor, your colleague, your pets, your health, any childhood memory or yesterday's memory. Whatever you think you are grateful for, whatever 2 things that come to your mind, just think about them. Feel the expression that comes with those memories. Watch those 2 things that you are grateful for, like a movie, and feel the joy, the smile, the laughter, the love, the vibrant energy, whatever that emotion to you is with those memories. Embrace them tightly and just observe that expression without judgment, without analyzing. Just feel that organic emotion. You are hugging that emotion with all the love. And this emotion is bringing the most loving, joyful, vibrant energy in your heart. And allow this energy to penetrate in each and every cell of your body. Feel that joy and love in every cell of your body, from the toe to the skull, as if every cell is dancing with joy, love, and vibrancy. This is the feeling that you want to embrace tightly. And this beautiful, loving, joyful, vibrant energy is going to stay with you all throughout the day. this is who you truly are. This is the energy that's going to radiate before even you start speaking and talking. This bright energy is going to be the reflection, and it's going to spread the love, the joy all around you. Everybody around you can feel that love and gratitude. One more time, focus on your in-breath and out-breath. As we breathe in together, we want to express the gratitude to universe for giving us this opportunity to meditate together, to share this loving, vibrant, beautiful energy. And allowing us to experience this group meditation together. With that feeling of gratitude and thank you, we feel the joy and lightness in our hearts. And we are going to carry this energy all the time with us. Keep bringing your attention to the breath. Whatever thoughts are coming to your mind, let them pass by like a cloud. And just keep bringing your attention to the breath. And now bring your hands to the prayer position in front of your chest. Bow down your head and come up slowly and let go your hands again. This is the posture that we are letting our ego go away and allowing our hearts to take the lead and guide us in all our to-do actions. With that gratitude, let's end the meditation. And when you are ready, open your eyes nice and slowly and come back to the session. Welcome back, and thank you everybody for joining in.
Monica, thank you so much for tonight. And I think I speak for everyone when I say our gratitude tonight goes to you. And thank you for sharing your presentation with us tonight. A couple of things before we go. Be sure to complete our survey at the end of this webinar. If you have any questions and would like for us to email you, please provide your email in one of our questions in our survey. Tomorrow, we will have our continued webinar series with Dr. Jeffrey Mechanic, who is going to be giving an update on the latest in diabetes care. So with that, thank you all for joining us tonight, and have a good night.